like to welcome everyone to this week's UNI press conference. Thank you for coming out. First update is UNI volleyball. Panthers will have a busy week of 3 matches. Tuesday at home against Drake at 7 o'clock, and then Friday and Saturday 7 o'clock against Loyola and Valpo. Panthers coming off a 1-1 week, dropping a Saturday match to Missouri State 3-1 in the McLeod Center. Next up, head coach Bobby Peterson.
Just a couple quick comments on the weekend. I thought we had a really good match against Southern Illinois. I think the biggest difference was the serve and pass game. I think we were able to take Southern Illinois, a really good Southern Illinois team, out of their offense by our serve. They were very rarely in system, and I thought that was just the biggest difference maker in that match. And then we come into the Missouri State match, and I felt a little bit of the opposite of that. I felt like Missouri State was a team that was in system most of the night, and then we were kind of in and out of that. I think, it was a tough match for us in terms of it's our home court. It was a match that we were obviously wanting when you look at the conference race. But we also had a lot of good things that were within that match, and we have a few things that we obviously need to work on and be better. I thought some of the biggest difference makers, we started off behind in the first 2 sets, like significantly behind. The positive side of that, we fought our way back and actually had opportunities to win both of those sets, but just couldn't keep anything consistent going. I think part of it, we had some big plays in my mind, some long rallies that we won that I really felt we didn't do a good job of feeding off of that and allowing that to kind of use that momentum. But I also think part of that is a really good Missouri State team that's not going to allow that to happen. They just do a really good job of moving on to the next play, which is a lot of what we talk about with our team. If you're on the losing end of some of those things, to be able to move on quickly. And I thought they did a really good job with that. We had a lot of trouble with Lily. She's somebody I talk about, and she's just a huge difference maker. She's just a kid that they can go to at any time when they need it, but really does a great job of bringing her team together when they're struggling. So we had a lot of trouble with Lily and then a couple of other players as well. But for us, it's interesting because I always talk about lick your wounds and move on, and we have to do that very quickly this week because we play a very tough Drake team coming in. They went 5 with Missouri State the night before Missouri State played us, and it wasn't because Missouri State wasn't playing well. We watched that match. It was a very high-level volleyball match from both teams, so we know we're going to have our hands full tomorrow night. And then obviously after that, we're not looking ahead to Loyola and Valpo at all. We will have very limited practice time this week because today we won't do much, and we're expecting a battle tomorrow, so it challenges what we do on Wednesday and Thursday as well. But looking forward to it. Always a great match with Drake no matter what anyway. Just a good interstate rival, a very well-coached team. They're actually leading the conference in defense right now, first in blocks and second in digs. So I like that for our team because one of our challenges is to be patient on offense, and we're going to get a lot of opportunities to do that tomorrow night. Questions?
There was a point earlier in the year where you talked about the team struggling in the third set. Now in conference play, UNI's actually been undefeated in the third. How critical is that time, especially now in conference play, the full 10 minutes, just be able to make adjustments and come out ready for that third?
Yeah, I think, obviously you go into the locker room with different situations, and, we obviously went into we had to do it in that third set going down the first 2, so was really happy with that. But I think the biggest thing that we're most pleased with was when the times that we've gone in there and have been ahead 2-0 and have been able to come out and do well in that third set. But obviously, you don't know a lot what to expect. Your kids a lot of times say a lot of the right things, but you try to look actually in their eyes and see, if you really feel like they're meaning what they're saying. Definitely felt like we were going to make a change in that third game against Missouri State, not really knowing if we'd come out on the winning end of it. But there were a couple things that we weren't doing well that we really focused on in the locker room at that time.
I know you normally like to do a few more wrinkles when you start the second round through the conference play, but with that Drake match on Tuesday, do you have time to do that this week?
We definitely do not. And, part of it, we have been slowly trying to add some things just with the way the conference, you used to only get 1 or 2 matches within the conference. And the last couple years, since you're fully scouted, we try to do that a little bit more, even in the first round, add a few things here and there. So we're not completely without some different things that we'd like to try, but it's definitely not going to be our focus for this week.
How good is it, big picture, for the league as a whole, that Drake has kind of had this renaissance season and is starting to play with more success.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and you know Drake's a very young team as well, with only a couple seniors. And I think obviously over the last few years, when you lose a Creighton and you lose a Wichita State, you're looking for teams to kind of step up and be able to do some things. And Darren has just done a great job of their recruiting. You know, he goes after some great Iowa kids. He's able to get a couple transfers. I think their coaching staff is very high level, so I don't think this is just something where they're just having an okay year and a good year just now. I think he's done a lot of really good things there to build a tradition for sure.
How tough a turnaround is this coming off that Saturday game with Missouri State and now Drake, the opponent?
Yeah, we'll be able to tell more of that. We have not seen our team since after Saturday. We have Sundays off, so we had Sunday off, and it gives everyone a lot of opportunity to kind of think about that match. But obviously, we have to move on very quickly, and we said that Saturday after the match. We need to learn for sure, but it is a huge turnaround because we're going to have the same kind of battle tomorrow night, and we have to be ready for that. So just going into today, we'll practice very light. We're going to do a few things just on our side with serve receive, and then obviously go over some of the things that Drake does. But just, I think, mentally trying to get ourselves where we need to be is a big part of it as well.
What's the scouting report on Drake? What do they look like?
They're defensively, they're statistically they're the best team in the league right now. But I mean, sometimes stats don't tell it all. But when you watch them, they are one of the top teams in the league for sure. Defensively, they do a lot of things keeping the ball alive. But what I think's changed a lot about them, because they've always been kind of on the scrappy side, they're a very good blocking team, and then they also have some hitters that are very capable of getting good swings out of their defense. And they've, in the past, I think, have been prone to errors. They dig a lot of balls, but they have a lot of errors with that. But they've done a really good job of getting that ball in front of somebody. They have a transfer from Oklahoma that's done a great job, and I think she's just brought a confidence for the rest of their team as well. They have a couple of young kids that have just really come in, with nothing to lose. Freshmen are usually one way or the other, but they've really been producing well for them as well. So I look at them a lot like Missouri State, where they're really good on both sides of the ball.
I gotta believe you'd love to see another great crowd tomorrow night. What a great crowd for that match over the weekend, especially the Missouri State.
Yeah, and both nights we had great crowds. It's so awesome to see that and to get the support. And obviously I know Drake will be bringing a lot of people. We always bring a lot to Drake as well. So just looking forward to that great atmosphere. I think there's a few high school games going on, but it's tournament time, so there's not a lot of high school volleyball going on right now. So hopefully we'll get another great crowd. But just that is definitely one thing I want to say. Just so thankful for the people that have come out and supported us. We've had a few more home games now, but a few more in a row here that we'd love to have that same type of atmosphere. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Next up, UNI football and head coach Mark Farley. Panthers knocked off number 7 South Dakota State 38-18 on Saturday. They will take on Youngstown State this Saturday, 1 o'clock family weekend in the Unidome. Next up, head coach Mark Farley.
Youngstown is, a very good football team. They are, they played in the title game last year. We had a battle with them last year at their place. And as I watch them on film, they're a very strong, physical football team. So it'll be a great challenge this weekend, and it's the next conference game. So, any questions?
You've already put that win from Saturday behind you and looking to Youngstown State, it sounds like.
Yes, sir. It was a good win, but it was one win. So now we have to move on and make sure that our sight is on what we need to do this week to get ready for Youngstown.
After this weekend's performance, who's your top running back?
That's a tough choice. It's Marcus. Marcus really did a nice job for us. I mean, it was good to have him back where he was somewhat healthy, and but he was a definite factor in that football game, and I really didn't know I carried him 40 times during it until the game was over. But he really made the difference for us on offense, or particularly in the run game.
Did it feel like South Dakota State? I know you don't take stock in rankings, but did it feel like they were the number 17 in the country?
It's, it's, to me, they were it was another MVC game. I mean, when you get in this league, it doesn't matter what they're ranked. They're all going to be a top 10 caliber team. So it was, playing at their place, playing in those conditions, and playing as we did, all were very positive for us. But, we have to be able to come back now this week and prepare and be prepared and play a very similar game against Youngstown State.
You had some different defensive alignments, some different personnel in on defense this week, Coach. Just how pleased were you with that, and how much of that will you be able to carry over and for it to be effective potentially against Youngstown?
Well, I thought our defense played very well. We did some really good things defensively. Had a couple of errors when they got some good drives going, but they were a good football team too. So, we did change some things up, and I thought it was very good by our staff as much as our players to be able to adjust like that as we got ready for South Dakota State. So, and then how they played it and how they executed it was even more important than just having it in. And their execution was good. But will we apply it and will we move forward? We will have to find a plan for Youngstown that meets the challenge, and that's whatever that is personnel-wise. We'll figure that out during the week. But Youngstown is a different style football team than Youngstown is different than South Dakota State, and we'll have to do some things against this team maybe a little bit differently than their strength is different than what South Dakota State's strength was. So it's a huge challenge, but once again, it's looking forward to another Missouri Valley game. It's every week is getting bigger and bigger, and their challenges are bigger.
What is it that concerns you most about Youngstown?
They played for the title last year. I mean, enough said. I mean, if they went through the whole playoff system last year on the road, and a very strong football team. So what concerns me about them is just that they're a physical football team that had North Dakota State, had South Dakota State. They played some good teams too, and they were in position. They were physically beating those teams on the field. So, and then you look at what they did last year against the teams they played all year long, all the way through the playoffs. What concerns me is that they have that type of balance in their football team on offense and defense. So, and they do a good job on special teams too. So it's a well-rounded football team, and a very good football team.
What do you see as their strengths compared to what South Dakota State's strengths were with their receivers and offense? What makes Youngstown State?
I think they got a great running back, to be honest with you. And when I look at the dynamics of their offense, they're very fundamentally sound in what they do. They're very good at what they do. I don't think they try to trick anybody as much as they just try to line up and get their scheme blocked the way they want it blocked. And then the running back hits the hole in a way that is very hard to defend. So he's, and they're patient. They're a patient football team. So, they'll take their 3, 4, 5 yards and then pop you for 12. And then they got the play action behind it to be very disruptive. So the patience and the toughness of their offense is concerning. And defensively, they've got a great structure on defense and how they play it. I think everybody knows what they're going to do, but they do what they do very well, and that's why they're successful. So they're hard to move the ball against. They do a great job against the run, and then they do a great job running the football. So they've changed the games. I mean, South Dakota State only had 35 plays against them the day they played them. So that says a lot alone of what their defense can do. So yeah, it's all concerning, but it's something we got to prepare for.
Kind of on the same thing here, sticking with it. Did you wake up at night last year? You're up 10-0, 22 plays, 86 yards, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Does that really define Youngstown, or do you admire that drive more than the?
Say that again.
22 plays, 86 yards, 11:40. Their first scoring drive last year.
One more time, slow down. Let me figure that one.
22 plays, 86 yards, 11 minutes and 40 seconds.
They had that long touchdown scoring drive.
Yeah, I just want to kind of get agitated by that. No, he's just trying to stir me up, man. It's like, and that's good. So that's the strength of Youngstown. Okay, is that's exactly what they did to South Dakota State. That's what they did to us, and that's why that's the challenge of Youngstown State.
I remember after talking about that, you just felt you didn't have enough depth to the sub guys in and out last year. Do you feel good about your depth at the front seven here? If they were to hit a drive that you could sub some fresh guys in?
That was a big deal last year, and we've got enough. Do we got enough quality? You know, that's what'll show up. We got enough bodies. Do we got enough hearts? You know, that's the deal on this one, because it'll be that kind of football game I'm anticipating. That's just how Youngstown plays. But you know, they're just playing old school Youngstown football, and we're going to need some depth, you know, to play that kind of game for 4 quarters.
You've been across the board. I don't know, how do you guys adapt? You know, you played at 7 o'clock, you played a lot of 4, you played 6, and now you're playing at 1 o'clock. It's your earliest game this year. How do you guys adapt to that?
You know, it's just, we play when they tell us to play. I mean, if we don't have any say in it, then we just got to play when they tell us to play, and that's why we don't even think about it. It's figure out what time pregame meal is and try to make sure that we're ready to play at that time period. So it's one of those deals that I don't even know the answer to it right now. It's just that I know it's a 1 o'clock game, and we have to find a way we have to be ready for that 1 o'clock kickoff.
How do you feel about your offensive line versus the battling some injuries, and then this week after, being a crew that's had to pass block a lot, they do a tremendous job run blocking them amid all the injuries?
Yeah, it's been, the offensive line has been, particularly the other day. I mean, they've had we lost both tackles. We're out our 2 tackles, and you know, to have Sweeney jump back to tackle and Ezra come in at guard, and he's playing injured anyway, and you know, Jackson will miss part of the week because of injuries there, and then Lee has been really good inside for us. He's been kind of the basis of the whole thing, at least the consistency in it, because he hasn't gotten nicked up too bad yet. But playing that offensive line, it's a tough part of the game. I'm pleased with them. I mean, what they did last week was very good. We still need a lot of improvement there, but I think what we did with them and how they've responded and how they played last week says a lot about, you know, what they're capable of. So it was one of those games that we finally hit on all cylinders, and they were a big part of having everything go right for us, is because of how they played. You know, once you get a little momentum like that, a little energy like that, it kind of spreads, and the offensive line was a big part of doing that. And you go back to Marcus Weimiller, you know, you break a tackle and you make a 1-yard run into a 10-yard run, that also brings a lot of confidence and more energy to a team on a drive. So all those things were big. It was a combination of Marcus, the tight ends, and the offensive line. And then you go back to Eli. Eli played a heck of a football game because, you know, you look at his numbers throwing the football and moving the chains that way. I mean, it was a good balance of the rush and the run to keep them off balance and to make the big plays when we could.
To further, agitate or endure those memories from last season, obviously, they score the go-ahead with 28 seconds left. Do you think your players still think about that? Do you still think about that? Especially in light of what happened 2 weeks ago here as well.
Yeah, I think about a lot of things, but directly that, I don't think about that specifically. I just know now that we're in Youngstown week, what you remember about the Youngstown game is, you know, those drives, that last quarter is what I remember. Not so much the drives, it was the quarter. And they did a really nice job and had the patience to stay in their game plan all the way through the 4th quarter. And we didn't do the things in those instances, whether it was offense, because we had a chance. I think there was 6 minutes left, and we had a chance at the 50-yard line after an intercept to go in and score, and we didn't do that. We gave them the ball back. They played good defense. We gave them the ball back, and then I think they made that drive that you're talking about. So it was one of those things, those missed opportunities, and those are the things that, when you get in good football games, somebody's going to say that. Either they are or we are at the end of the day. And it's who takes advantage of opportunities and who doesn't have the mental errors and the, the self-inflicted wounds along the way, because you got two equally matched teams. Once you start playing in this league, there's not much difference as anybody anymore. It's pretty equal, and it comes down to, execution on game day.
Is it a little concerning? Cal Poly game obviously was a win, but last second touchdown in regulation by them to force overtime. Western Illinois, that last second, 2 touchdowns that ended up happening. And then obviously you look at last year with Youngstown State. Does the last minute of the fourth quarter, is that something that this team has talked about in light of recent events?
No, actually, we talk about that all the time, because I think you can go find any season in the years that I remember, and I'll bet you 70% of the games that we win are less than a touchdown, and 70% of the games that we lose are less than a touchdown. So it's always comes down to the last drive, to the last series. This league is very strong, and that's why I think we come in here, we have the belief that any game that we walk into, no matter if it's Wisconsin or Youngstown or anybody in between, they're just another team in red that we have to find a way to win. And it's usually going to come down to the last series in those games to do so. So when we're playing good and you're in this league, everybody is strong enough. In particular, a Youngstown this week. They played for the title last year. Enough said. I mean, they had a chance to win the national championship. They beat everybody on the road. We went to their place, played a good game, but did not win. They did, and that's the challenge, and that's what makes this league so good.
Sam Drysdale, loses his job halfway through the Southern Utah game, but you come right back to him. He hasn't missed since. He hasn't missed a PAT. Even made one with the sousaphone stuck in the net. But talk about his fortitude to, forget and then come back. And that was a big early point for you on Saturday.
It was. I mean, that position is so key anymore, because it applies to the question that we're all talking about, how close these games are. And we made field goals, they didn't the other day. They transitioned some things on the punt return, we didn't. Those special teams points are huge. Special teams field position, huge. When we win them, we're in a lot better position in the fourth quarter to win the game. If we give those opportunities up, then you're playing behind the field position. So what Sam has done is move forward, just like this team has done. It's great when you win. It's tough when you lose. But man, come midnight on Sunday, you better get ready for the next football game, because it's just get things ramped up again. It's still a great day because it's not all stressed out. But by Friday and Saturday, it'll be all ready to roll again, and everything's on the line again. So just like any other position, you throw an intercept or you miss a kick. Okay, you better go out the next series and trash what happened, and only be focused on what will happen or what you can make happen the next time you hit the field. And he's made stuff happen since he's hit the field, Sam has. So that's our intent, is try to improve on that. But every week you must prepare the same way as you did the previous week.
I assume you've watched it, but obviously Youngstown had quite the epic finish. Speaking of finishes, this past weekend with North Dakota State, what do you think emotionally they will be like coming off of a game quite like that?
Oh, they'll follow the emotion of any Youngstown team. They're all tough as nails, and I mean, they take after their coach. I mean, they're a tough football team, and they'll be prepared. I haven't seen them take a field they weren't prepared for. So they take on the role of their head coach and have great respect for them, the type of style of game that he plays, and his team takes that role too. So yeah, it was quite the finish out there, and it was, we've been there, done that. Okay, so I understand that side. I understand how you feel going into the next week. So we just came off one of those. So
You guys trickle in yesterday with a little extra stuff from our jump, or
we did not meet yesterday. Okay, no, we didn't meet yesterday.
you anticipate that today?
Whatever step they have, they better get ready. They better get in step with Youngstown.
Jalen James took that targeting hit and came out. How was he?
We'll find out today. He's as of Sunday, it was questionable for this week, but yeah, if it was worse, I'd tell you. So it's still questionable as any injury like that would be at this time. But there's also sometimes that I tell you that he's out for this week. So he's questionable as of right now, and we still got to go through all the protocols in the process.
In talking about Youngstown's running game and just their ability to really grind it out, how do you think your defense, which obviously, especially in that secondary, is pretty young, will stack up against that?
That's a big part of the game because it doesn't matter. They scored 24 against, what they get, 24 last week against North Dakota State? So they got 24 against North Dakota State, which is extremely good. So, you know, they pounded them all day long and had a chance to win the game at the end. So it tells me that their offensive line is very good, and I told you earlier that the running back is very good. How we stack up, we're going to find out. I mean, we'll take the field with the dudes that we had at South Dakota State, and they're going to have to step their game up, and we'll have to do a better job than we did last year when we gave up a 22-play drive. So a lot of those guys took that field that day, and as you guys have reminded me, okay, 22 plays later, they scored. So that's our challenge, and that's our test. Man, you guys did agitate me today, didn't you? Thanks. See ya.
Thank you, Mark. Next up, UNI soccer and head coach Bruce Erickson. Panthers scored a 2-1 overtime win last night at Valpo. They will head to Loyola this Saturday for a 5 p.m. matchup. Next up is head coach Bruce Erickson.
All right, quite a week. I think I jinxed the weather from comments earlier in the year. We were very fortunate for the first 2 months of the season to really have an opportunity to play in games that the weather didn't affect it, and then we rolled into last week and had 2 games canceled and moved and all that kind of stuff. And I thought our team, despite going 1-1 with that, did very well, particularly this last weekend. Having a game moved and then moved again, and then not knowing when we were going to play the next day and possibly playing today. And so I thought our players showed a lot of resolve, and quite frankly, I think we're just sick of sitting in a hotel and not being able to get out and play, and came out and showed that they wanted to win and go home. So good result yesterday. Unfortunate result against Drake. I thought we played really, really well. Took a really special goal by them, I think, to kind of take the wind out of our sails, and then we fought back, and they scored another one, and then we got one late. But really pleased with how we played over the week. Disappointed that we didn't at least get a draw out of that. But you know, at 3-2 going into a tough Loyola game, I think we still have a crack at least maybe tying for the regular season title. But I think right now our biggest concern is Saturday. I don't think we can look ahead beyond that. So, questions?
How good's Loyola?
Very good. You know, they've got 2. I think they're. I'd like to see where they're at after this week. I think they've, you know, in addition to being regionally ranked, they won 5-2 away yesterday at Kentucky. They beat Iowa at Iowa 3-0. So they got 2 wins against Power Fives where the games weren't that close. So they're high-powered. You know, Valpo beat them at home, I think, or at Loyola last week. So they're certainly beatable. But man, you got to slow them down. That's for sure. And I think we match up pretty well. I think we're good defensively. But it's going to be a heck of a battle. So we're looking forward to it. But they're good. They're quality.
What can you say about this conference race? You got 2nd through 6th place, all separated by just 3 points, and everybody's still got 2 or 3 matches left. Seems like it's going to be an interesting race just to get in and then proceeding.
Yeah. You know, it is, and everybody's a little bit different. You know, I think we had the toughest. I mean, you could argue it both ways, I suppose. We get 2 in a row at home to start, but, you know, nobody had to go all 4. Well, teams are either 3 home and 4 away or 4 home and 3 away. We got the 4 away, and they're all 4 in a row. And against Drake, who right now is in first place, and Valpo, who's very good, Loyola, who might arguably be the best team, and then a good Missouri State team. So it's going to be interesting to sort of sit back and watch, but that's more enjoyable when you take care of business on your own. But I think this is a huge week. You got a lot of teams, as you said, are in the thick of it still. And I think Drake has they got a tough spell here. They got 2 in a row in 4 days on the road after going all the way to Evansville. So I'll be interested to see how those games go, because Illinois State's fighting for their life. They're still in the hunt. And then I think they go to Missouri State. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting last 10 days here. So be interesting to see what happens. But I feel good with where we're at. We just got to take care of business. We got another one at home, and then another one on the road, and then we finish one at home.
Tell us about the overtime game-winning goal. How did it happen?
It had the feeling, if you've been to enough soccer games, it had the feeling of just one of those days where I think we hit 3 posts. We hit the crossbar. Sarah Brandt hit the post with, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes left, that I was off the bench already halfway into celebrating. And it was really, to be fair, I thought we were pretty dominant in the second half. It was just, those kind of games, I think there's a little bit of coaching going on, but more of it's just encouraging and keeping them, from feeling like it's going to be one of those games. And we just put a lot of pressure on them, got a couple of corner kicks that we were dangerous on all day, and the ball got served in. And, we talk about not just winning the first ball, but trying to find the second ball, because there's always a flick on or a miscleared or whatever. And Allison Bitter was, we encourage them to always know their role and do their role, and she did it to a T. She was in the right spot, just anticipated, and headed it back across the goal and into the goal. So it was a great goal, and just more proud than anything else that they kept fighting, and wasn't the greatest of circumstances and wasn't the greatest of weather, but good teams find a way to to grind one out, and we certainly did that.
With so much still to play for, you did set a program record with your 11th win yesterday. What's that mean to what you guys have done here
Right.
in your first year?
I think more than anything else, I think it shows 2 things. It shows it shows how hard the players have worked, because they're as responsible for that as anyone. The other thing is, it sort of goes into that, is it just instills a little bit more belief. They won 1 game on the road last year, I think 1 game on the road the year before, and this was a tough team that we made, I thought, look not as tough, and to be able to do that, it just gives them more belief. I think to the earlier question about how good Loyola is, I think when you get good wins on the road, those tough games don't seem as tough, because you go into them a little bit more confident. So I think that's probably what it's done, is it's not going in there blindly on Saturday and thinking, hey, we don't have a great chance to win. I think it's going in there and saying we're going for it. We're gonna try and get the 3 points. So it's fun to see. It's fun to see in their faces. You can tell. It's not just smiles. It's confident smiles, and that's good to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Next up, swimming and diving. Head coach Nick Lakin. Panthers picked up a dual win over Sioux Falls on Saturday in the Glen F. Henry Pool. With a recap and preview of the upcoming week is head coach Nick Lakin.
All right, so like Colin said, we got a win on Saturday against an up-and-coming Sioux Falls team. On Friday, we had our 3rd straight Big Ten opponent. We swam Nebraska. That's a really tough team. but we came out, won 3 of the first 5 events into the diving break, and then came out of the diving break and won 2 more almost right away, and then Nebraska kind of pulled away from there. Molly Lembeziter led the way. She had 2 individual wins. Katie Taylor also had 2 individual wins, so that was great. And they teamed up on the relay with Crystal and Mariah to get a win in the medley relay. Saturday, we had a good chance to move some people around and work on our depth, and we had 10 individuals win an event on Saturday. So
You got some practice time before South Dakota and South Dakota State come up later this month. What are you looking forward to out of preparing this team for those events?
yes, so the 3 tests we had against the Big Ten teams really showed us things that we need to work on technically and pacing wise. So we're going to go to work on those things today and hopefully see those translate in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Nick. Next up is head coach Dave Paulson, Panthers men's and women's cross country coach. Panthers were in action at Bradley. UNI women picked up 7 top 25 finishes at the event. Next up with a recap is head coach Dave Paulson.
So yeah, we were at Bradley this weekend, and one of the things to take away from it was, how much better we can be heading into the conference meeting. So we didn't have a bad outing on the women's side. We just weren't as good as we had been in the last couple weeks, and so nothing to kind of panic about or anything like that. It just shows the need to be able to run together as a team a little bit better. And so this was the first weekend we didn't do as good a job as we had in weeks past. And so our spread between our first and fifth was about 47 seconds. Previous meets it's been a little bit tighter into that 25, 30 second range. So just give you kind of an idea in a meet like that, there was over 30 teams at that meet. And so even if you can shorten that span by 15 seconds, that's about 40 places for your athletes. And so, you make that adjustment and the score is a lot different and you're a little bit further up there in the team standings. And so, but we had some good individual performances. Hannah Triniger and Brett Corey had a great race. I think Brett, that was her first time she had ever been our number 1 runner. And so to see that on the top end going, that's good. You want those girls to be battling out and working together. And so I think we get our spread a little tighter together, which is going to be our focus here as we head into conference championships. Completely different makeup. There's only 8 teams. 9 teams at the conference meet as opposed to 34 teams. And so there's not as many places between each runner when your kids are finishing. And so we just have to make sure we really put the emphasis on being a tight pack at the conference meet. And so, and we'll do that. And so I'm looking forward to 2 more weeks to get another chance to get on the course against some of those teams we saw this weekend. On the men's side, we went into the meets pretty depleted. We had 3 out of our top 6 guys either out with injury or battling some illnesses. And so we still didn't execute the way I would have liked. But, when you lose 3 out of your top 6, it's going to be kind of a tough weekend. But again, the message to the team was, we can be a lot better than that 2 weeks from now, and that's going to be our goal. And so we get that started this week. And so I'm confident that in 2 weeks we'll be much better on that end as well. So we'll be at Missouri State in 2 weeks at the conference championships, and looking forward to getting out there with those conference teams and battling it out. Any questions?
It seems like every year you're going to Bradley a couple weeks before the conference tournament. Just how good is it to have that meet as kind of a prelude to the conference tournament?
It's good, especially for the upperclassmen. They've seen that course. It's one of the best meets in the country on the weekend. There's a couple other big meets, Wisconsin and one down in Louisville. But other than that, this is one of the big meets of the weekend, and so it's a good test to see where we're at. We see a lot of schools similar to the Valley schools, as well as a handful of the Valley schools, and so it's nice. The kids know the course. It's a very easy course as far as the layout goes, and so there's not a lot of surprises there. So it's just one of those good meets we have on our schedule. You can guarantee good competition. And that's important 2 weeks before the meet, the conference meet, to get a good competition in like that. Okay, thanks a lot. Go Panthers.
Thank you, Dave. That'll wrap up this week's press conference. Thank you for coming out. As always, go Panthers.